Lourdes, a town in southwestern France, is one of the most popular Catholic Marian shrines in the world. It's the site where Our Lady appeared to St. Bernadette in the 19th century. For the past 5 years, the Knights of Columbus have worked with the Archdiocese for Military Services, USA, to sponsor the annual Warriors to Lourdes pilgrimage. The trip is an opportunity for service members and their families to rest, pray, and ask for healing. Joining me now is Colonel Chuck Galena, who retired from the Marine Corps after 30 years of active duty. Colonel Galena also works with the Knights of Columbus and helped organize this year's pilgrimage. Colonel Galena, Chuck, thanks for coming on the show first off. You say no one comes out of battle unaffected. Tell me how this trip to Lourdes really is a place of healing for so many members of the military.
That there is a saying that there are no unwounded warriors in battle. And we see that reflected in not just the physical wounds of war, but very much so in the emotional, spiritual, and moral wounds of war. We're a very Christian Catholic military in many ways, and we see this reflected in the guilt that many of our warriors carry with them when they come out. Lourdes is a natural place of healing. It's a natural place for us to take our wounded, ill, and injured. Certainly the 66 confirmed miracles on the physical healing, but to me, the real strength, the real healing of Lourdes through the Blessed Mother is this spiritual healing, this moral courage that we seem to see in our warriors that helps them then address their physical wounds, the guilt feelings or the emotional issues that impact their lives, their marriages, and so forth. It's a powerful, powerful feeling.
I'm hoping you can cite an example, because there are so many people who go there and feel like they've gone through a transformation before and after the pilgrimage. Tell us about maybe some people that you've met.
We have a young man with us this year who is suffering terminal 4 brain cancer. He came, and in his own words, I came for healing, physical healing of my side and my speech, but I found spiritual healing and courage for the journey, and that is more important than the physical.
You know, this pilgrimage unites members of the military, from across the country, in many cases from across the world. How do you think sort of this global fellowship sort of strengthens them as a community?
Warriors are warriors, depending on no matter what nation we're talking about. But in this case, we had 14,000 military personnel from 50 nations. We had 217 of our own wounded, ill, and injured with their caregivers. They come together in camaraderie. They come together in unity. This year was Pentecost. And in the words of one of our chaplains, to see the Pentecost Mass celebrated with all of these military members from all of these nations, what a powerful example of the ability to reach out in peace to one another. From our own military personnel, using the words of our Supreme Knight in terms of the relationship of the Knights of Columbus to the military, what greater act of charity, one of our most powerful principle, than giving one's life to a friend? What greater unity than the band of brothers, and then the fraternity that takes place within that.
And of course, this is not the first time that the Knights of Columbus have sponsored or helped the U.S. military in this way. How else do the Knights of Columbus help members of the military or former members of the military?
We have been supporting the military effectively since 1919 in World War I. In fact, the tie I'm wearing is the emblems of the Knights of Columbus in World War I. We operated a hospitality center in Lourdes, and the very first military pilgrimage of any kind was 3,000 members of the American Expeditionary Force who came to Lourdes, and the Knights of Columbus were there to organize to help them with their billeting and lodging, much the same way we're doing today. So we really returned to Lourdes. The Armed with the Faith prayer book, over 600,000 copies we've given out to that. The direct support to the Archdiocese of the Military Services, especially the co-sponsored seminarian program, and Archbishop Berlioz directly, and his bishops. All of these things are part of our understanding that the values and principles of our armed forces match and meet the principles of the Knights of Columbus. And so it's a natural unity between the Knights and the support of our military.
It's so interesting to hear about the outreach that you guys do, as well as the experience of members of the military who have gone to Lourdes. Colonel Chuck Galena, military advisor for the Knights of Columbus, thanks so much for talking with us.
It was my pleasure to do that. Thank you very much.